This is an academic technology tutorial on using Gradebook to share student feedback and grades. The Sakai Gradebook's most important function is to collect all student feedback and grades in one location so they can see a comprehensive view of their progress in a course. The Gradebook can store grades and feedback from assignments, discussion forums, and tests and quizzes, and it can also store feedback for things like class participation and oral reports where students don't have to submit a document. One thing that's important to remember is that if you're giving feedback on discussions, the Gradebook is the only place students can see that feedback. There is no way for students to view the feedback in the discussion tool itself. The same is true if you're giving grades or feedback for class participation, oral reports, or other activities where no document or text is submitted in Sakai. The Gradebook does require a point-based grade. You can use any point scale you like, for example, 0 to 10 or 0 to 100, or you can use a simple scale of 0 to 1 on any Gradebook item to indicate that an activity is complete. So programs that want to use a completely narrative approach can still get the benefits of using Gradebook without awarding number grades. The Gradebook allows a whole range of feedback and grading options. You can grade individual activities only, or you can use the full array of settings to calculate a grade for the entire course if that's what you want. The full course grade will appear in the course grade column here, if you turn it on. This visibility eyeball icon will tell you if it's on or off. In all configurations, students will only be able to see their own grades and feedback, while the instructor will be able to see all grades and feedback for all students. Let me show you how to use the various Gradebook settings to meet your needs. Each campus and program has its own Gradebook template based on what we know about their grading processes. The template that appears in your new course each term should reflect on your program's choices, but you can edit it to fit your course needs. Most Gradebook templates start with 10 or 15 items that can be used for class participation or discussion. These can easily be added, edited, or deleted. You'll see this example has these items in a category called class participation, and those would be averaged together to make up 25% of the final grade. If we look at the Settings tab, we will see the default template also contains a default grading schema that corresponds to a word or letter grade to a number to make the gradebook function. For example, Antioch University New England uses a grading schema of outstanding, excellent, very good, good, etc., where some programs that award letter grade equivalencies may use this or a similar grading schema with A+, A minus, B+, B, and no credit. If you're not sharing a calculated course grade, you don't need to worry about the grading schema, but it's always good to make sure it matches your needs in case you want to use it later. And don't forget to save your changes at the bottom if you've made any. You should also check out the categories and weighting. If you have groups of activities that will be averaged together, like 10 participation grades or 15 weekly discussions or several journal entries, you can use the categories and weighting. For example, if school is closed and you miss a week of participation and you only have 9 weeks of grades instead of 10 that were planned, if they are in a category together, it will just average the 9 grades and you won't have to redo the number of points you've assigned for each one. Gradebook does the math for you. If each of your activities is worth a set number of points, or if you don't want to use points except to indicate if an activity is complete or not, you can just select no categories. Lastly, you can check the grade release rules. If you want to display a final course grade and have Gradebook calculate it for you, make sure to check the Display Final Course Grade to Students. You can choose whether it will display the letter grade or the word, the percentage out of 100, or the number of points. Letter grade and percentage is usually what we check. For now, I'll leave this unchecked and I'll save changes at the bottom to accept the change of moving it to no categories. When we return to the Gradebook items list, You'll now see that the attendance and participation and discussion and participation items no longer belong to the category of class participation. They have no category. Now I'd like to show you an example of how you can set up assignments and native gradebook items using a 0 to 1 point scale, simply to indicate that each item has been completed and where you can enter and view feedback. If you're not using discussion or participation items, you can use the bulk edit button to delete all of these items or any number of these items if you're only doing every other week, for example. Make sure to save your changes. You can edit any individual gradebook item using this little down arrow and selecting Edit Item Details. This will give you access to changing the title of the item. For example, if you're using these for weekly class participation, the number of points, in this case, we're going to choose 0 if they didn't participate and 1 if they did participate effectively. If we had categories in waiting, you'd also be able to change it here. By clicking Save Changes, you'll see that our updates are made in that column. So if you plan to use these, you can change the item each time. Week 2, class participation, point value up to 1, and save changes. That's how you edit a native gradebook item. When you go to grade this item, you simply click in the student's box, type number 1 or the number 0, and hit enter. You can also add a comment, since feedback is so important, about the quality of their participation, how they can do better, what they did well. If you type anything in the comment field, you'll see that a little quote balloon appears in that field. And so when students come in here, they can see both their grade and they can click on the quote balloon to see your comment. This will work in any item that does not have a lock in it. I'll show you an assignment and how to grade that out of 1 to 0 as well. So down here, I have a recovery model paper assignment, and it's set up for no grade at this time. If we edit it and scroll down about 2/3 of the way to the grading section, you can see that we can choose to grade this assignment. When you click grade this assignment, you have to choose your grading scale. If you choose letter grade, if you choose pass-fail, or if you choose check mark, this item cannot be put into the gradebook. And this is why we encourage people to choose points, and even as far as just choosing a 1 point completion or 10 or 100. Also, to get it to go to gradebook, you have to check the checkbox that says send released grades to the gradebook. If this is the first time you've done so, it will say create a new gradebook item. Or if there are gradebook items in your gradebook, you can associate it with an item that's already in there. When you scroll to the bottom and hit post, you'll see this item is now graded out of 0 to 1 points. And when we return to the gradebook, there'll be a new column in the gradebook on the right side usually. Recovery model paper, and you'll see it has a lock in the box. If you left click on the lock, it'll tell you go to the assignments tool to edit scores for this item. The lock is simply telling you you don't grade this item directly in the gradebook, you grade it in the assignment tool. And if there was a submission, you would use the grade tool. Click on the student's name, and you could insert a grade of 0 or 1 in here. You could add a feedback comment in here and hit done. You could also download their paper and mark tracked changes and upload it as an attachment to give line by line feedback if you like. When you save and release this grade, it will appear in Gradebook. We'll go back to Gradebook and see what we can see. Scroll down, scroll all the way across. You'll see now under the recovery model paper, this person has received a 1 for a grade, and you can see whatever you've typed in the feedback comment now appears under another quote balloon. What students can't see in the gradebook are any tracked changes that you might have put in an attachment. So just keep that in mind. The gradebook will give them an overview of how they're doing in all of the items that have occurred so far in their class and have been graded or given feedback by their faculty member. And now I'd like to show you how to set up your assignments, discussions, and other native gradebook items so you can calculate a final course grade from the feedback and grades you give during the term. To do that, I'm going to go to the settings and turn on Display Final Course Grade. I'll use the letter and percentage, and I'll hit Save at the bottom. And also for this example, I'll turn on categories and weighting so that you can see all the options that are available to you. You can use a final course grade with or without categories and weighting, though. As before, when you're in the grading items pane, you can edit items in the same way. You'll see they now contain a category, class participation, and a percentage of weighting if you used weighting. The editing process is the same. You click on the little triangle and edit item details. And now you see you can change the title, the point value, and in this course, let's change it to 10 so we can give more detailed feedback. And you could change the category if you needed to. In this case, this will be for class participation, so I will leave it there and save changes. In an assignment, for example, we will head back to our main assignments page. I can edit this reflection paper. Again, I'll scroll down to the grading section about 2/3 of the way down the screen, and I'll grade this assignment out of points. And this time I'll want to give more detailed grading feedback in this example only. And again, I'll have to send the released grades to Gradebook. In this case, again, create a new Gradebook item. We want to do that. And it gives us the option of putting that item in a category. This item is the reflection paper, so I'll put it in the reflection paper category. Scroll to the bottom and hit Post. Now you'll see that we have that assignment in the gradebook. Should be on the far right side. And here it is. Again, it has the lock because it's an assignment and the grading portion needs to be done in the assignments tool. In discussions, you have to set up your discussion forum post gradebook items in here first. So I will change this one to be our week 1 discussion post. I want to grade those posts out of 10 points, and instead of being a part of class participation, I will make them in the discussion forums category. I can save changes, and now I have a column called Week 1 Discussion. When I go to my discussion forum and I'm ready to grade, I can go to More, Grade, and I'll be able to choose the Week 1 Discussion gradebook item from the drop-down list. I can show the comments column. Now you can give them a grade and some feedback and hit Submit Grades. When we return to the gradebook item, you'll see that those are over here in the gradebook item under Week 1 Discussion with your comment. For discussion items, this is the only place that they can see this grade or this feedback. There is no way for a student to look in the discussion forums tool and find a section that shows their grade. The assignments tool allows them to see their feedback both in the assignments tool and in the gradebook. What this means, though, is if you're using discussion forums and giving feedback and/or grades, you'll need to make sure the gradebook is turned on and visible to students so that they can see their feedback from you and improve future assignments. So in this case, you'll see this hidden eyeball icon is visible to us, which means the gradebook is invisible to students. In order to change this, once you're done setting up all your settings, you can go to Site Info, Tool Order, and click the gear icon to the right of the gradebook and choose Make Tool Visible to Students. Scroll to the bottom and hit Save, and you'll see the visibility icon is removed from Gradebook, and now it's visible to students. You'll also see that the course grade column doesn't have that invisibility icon, so this course grade is visible to students. And what Gradebook has done is used our grading schema, our categories and weighting, and all the grades and feedback we've provided to calculate their current grade based on only those assignments and activities that have been graded. So you can use 0 to 1 points on one assignment. You can use 0 to 10 on other types of assignments. You can grade 0 to 100 on other types of assignments. And Gradebook will do all the math for you to calculate their current status of their course grade. For details on how to grade assignments and discussion forums, you'll find tutorials on our AUAT YouTube channel. If you have any questions, please email us at at@antioch.edu.